Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, made a prediction that sounded absurd when he first said it. He believes we'll see the first one-person billion-dollar company within the next few years, a unicorn built and run by a single founder. No employees, no team, just one person and AI. When he said this, most people dismissed it as hype, but the data is starting to prove him right. Companies that would have required dozens of employees 5 years ago are now being run by solo founders. And they're not just surviving, they're scaling faster, generating more profit per person and outcompeting traditional startups that raised millions. This is episode 2 of Founder of the Future, and we're going to break down why startups without employees aren't just possible, they might be inevitable. In episode 1, we covered how solo founders are building one-person companies that generate million-dollar revenues, the tools, the economics, the framework. But there's a bigger question underneath all of that. Why is this happening now? And more importantly, is this just a phase, or is it the beginning of a permanent shift in how work gets done? The answer comes down to leverage. For most of business history, the way to grow was to hire people. More revenue meant more employees. That's how companies scaled. More salespeople, more engineers, more support staff. But AI has broken that relationship. For the first time, you can scale revenue without scaling headcount. The result is what Silicon Valley is calling the 20 times company, a startup that generates 20 times more revenue per employee than a traditional business. And the extreme version of that? The one-person company generating what used to require an entire team. Let's break down why this is happening, what makes it work, and where it's headed. Section 1. The new math of startups. Historically, there was a direct relationship between company size and company value. Bigger companies had more employees. That was just how it worked. In 2000, the average Fortune 500 company had about 25,000 employees. Those companies were valuable because they could do things at scale that smaller companies couldn't. Manufacturing, distribution, customer service, all of that required people. But something changed in the 2000s. Tech companies started breaking that pattern. WhatsApp sold to Facebook for $19 billion with just 55 employees. Instagram sold for $1 billion with 13. Those numbers shocked people because they violated the old rule. How could something so valuable be built by so few people? The answer was leverage. Software scales infinitely. Once you build it, serving one user costs the same as serving 1 million users. You don't need to hire proportionally. But even those companies still had teams. They still hired engineers, designers, product managers. The next evolution is removing even that requirement. Today, a solo founder with AI tools can do what an entire engineering team did 5 years ago. Not perfectly, not for every type of product, but for a growing category of software businesses, the work that used to require specialists can now be done by generalists using AI. The metric that matters isn't headcount anymore. It's revenue per employee. And companies with 0 employees have infinite revenue per employee, which is why investors are starting to pay attention. Here's the pattern. Traditional startups optimize for growth. They raise capital. They hire aggressively. They burn cash to acquire customers. The bet is that they'll eventually scale into profitability. One-person companies optimize for leverage. They minimize costs. They automate ruthlessly. They focus on high-margin products that don't require ongoing human labor to deliver. And they become profitable in months, not years. That difference, optimizing for leverage instead of growth, is what makes the model work. Because when costs are near zero and revenue scales, the founder captures almost all of the value. Section 2. The AI layer that replaces teams. So, what actually replaces employees? The answer is a combination of AI tools, automation platforms, and strategic outsourcing, layered together in a way that didn't exist 5 years ago. Let's break it down by function. Engineering. This used to be the most expensive part of a startup. Developers commanded 6-figure salaries. Finding good ones was nearly impossible. Keeping them was expensive. Today, tools like ChatGPT, Claude Code, GitHub Copilot, and Cursor can generate functional code from natural language prompts. A founder who understands product logic can describe what they want, and AI writes the implementation. Not perfectly, AI still makes mistakes, and someone needs to review and debug. But the productivity multiplier is massive. What used to take a team of 3 engineers 6 months can now be done by one founder in weeks. Design. Tools like Figma with AI plugins, Midjourney for visual assets, and design systems from companies like Shadcyan mean a non-designer can create professional-looking interfaces. The designs might not win awards, but they work. And for early-stage products, working is enough. Marketing. AI can write copy, generate ad creatives, optimize landing pages, and even handle email sequences. Tools like Jasper, Copy.ai, and ChatGPT handle content creation. Platforms like Meta's ad tools and Google Ads have built-in AI optimization. A solo founder can run entire marketing campaigns without hiring a marketer. Customer support. Chatbots powered by GPT-4 or Claude can handle 80% of common support questions. For the 20% that require human intervention, founders can use tools like Intercom with AI triage to prioritize what actually needs their attention. Early-stage companies don't need full-time support staff anymore. Sales. For B2B products, AI can write outreach emails, qualify leads, and even schedule meetings. Tools like Apollo, Clay, and SmartLead handle prospecting and outreach at scale. The founder steps in only for closing calls, the highest leverage part of the process. Operations. Tools like Zapier, Make, and N8 automate workflows. Billing is handled by Stripe. Accounting is handled by tools like Bench or Pilot. Legal documents are templated through Clerky or Stripe Atlas. All of these used to require dedicated staff. Now they're automated. The key insight is this: AI doesn't replace humans in every context, but it does replace humans for the majority of tasks that startups do in their first 2 years. And that's all a solo founder needs to get to profitability. Section 3. The 20 times startup framework. There's a concept emerging in Silicon Valley called the 20 times startup. The idea is simple. Instead of measuring success by total revenue, you measure it by revenue per employee. A traditional SaaS company might generate $500,000 in annual recurring revenue with a team of 10 people. That's $50,000 per employee. Decent, but not extraordinary. A 20 times company generates $1 million in ARR with one person. That's 20 times more productive. The revenue per employee is infinite, technically, if you're solo. But even if you scale to 3 people, you're still generating $333,000 per person, far above the industry average. Companies like GigaML, Legion Health, and PhaseShift are operating this way. They've automated nearly every internal function. Founders delay hiring as long as possible. And when they do hire, they hire for only the tasks that can't be automated. The framework these companies use has 3 core principles. First, automate before you hire. If a task can be handled by a tool or an AI agent, don't bring on a person. This seems obvious, but most founders hire too early. They assume they need people because that's what startups are supposed to do. 20 times startups challenge that assumption. Second, outsource strategically. For tasks that can't be automated but also don't require a full-time employee, use contractors or agencies. Need design work? Hire a freelance designer for a specific project. Need legal advice? Use a lawyer on retainer, not a full-time general counsel. This keeps costs variable instead of fixed. Third, build systems, not processes. Traditional companies build processes, repeatable workflows that require human execution. 20 times companies build systems, automated workflows that run without human input. The difference is leverage. Processes scale linearly. Systems scale exponentially. An example, a traditional e-commerce company might have customer service reps answering questions about orders. A 20 times company builds an AI chatbot that handles 90% of those questions automatically, escalates edge cases to the founder, and logs every interaction to improve the AI over time. Another example, a traditional B2B SaaS company has a sales team that manually reaches out to leads, qualifies them, and books demos. A 20 times company uses AI to scrape relevant leads, send personalized outreach at scale, qualify based on engagement, and auto-schedule calls with prospects who express interest. The founder only shows up for the final demo. The result is that productivity per person skyrockets. And because costs stay low, profitability happens fast. Section 4. Why this model is spreading. This isn't just a Silicon Valley phenomenon. One-person companies are being built across industries, geographies, and business models. Content creators are using AI to produce videos, write scripts, edit footage, and even generate thumbnails. What used to require a production team is now done by one person with the right tools. E-commerce founders are using AI for product research, ad creative, email marketing, and customer service. Entire stores are run solo, generating 6 figures a year in profit. Consultants are using AI to handle research, draft proposals, create presentations, and even analyze client data. They're serving more clients with less time investment than ever before. And software founders, the original target of this model, are building SaaS products, micro tools, and vertical-specific solutions entirely solo. The reason this is spreading is simple. The tools are getting better, and the playbook is getting clearer. 3 years ago, using AI to build a product required technical expertise. Today, It requires curiosity and persistence. The barrier to entry has collapsed. But there's a second reason this is spreading that's less obvious. People want freedom. The traditional startup path, raise money, hire a team, work 80-hour weeks, hope for an exit, is exhausting. Most founders burn out, most startups fail, and even the ones that succeed often make the founder miserable. The one-person model offers an alternative. Build something small and profitable. Keep full control. Work from anywhere. Scale at your own pace. It's not for everyone, but for founders who value autonomy over prestige, it's a better path. And as more people see it working, more people try it, which means the talent pool shifts. Instead of joining startups as employees, skilled people are launching their own one-person companies. The result is a flywheel. Better tools enable more solo founders. More solo founders validate the model. More validation attracts more talent. The cycle accelerates. Section 5. What this means for the future of work. If this trend continues, and all signs suggest it will, what does it mean for the broader economy? First, the job market changes. If more companies can be run by one person, fewer companies need to hire. That doesn't mean unemployment goes up. It means employment shifts. Instead of working for companies, more people will work for themselves. The gig economy evolves into the founder economy. Second, the definition of a startup changes. Right now, startup implies venture funding, rapid growth, and an exit. But if the one-person model becomes dominant, most startups won't follow that path. They'll be bootstrapped, profitable from year one, and optimized for cash flow instead of valuation. The VC model won't disappear, but it will apply to a narrower set of companies. Third, geography matters less. If you don't need to hire a team, you don't need to be in San Francisco or New York. You can build from anywhere. That decentralizes entrepreneurship. The next wave of billion-dollar companies might be built from small towns, other countries, or places that never had access to traditional startup infrastructure. Fourth, the winners take more. In a world where one person can do what used to require a team, the most capable individuals will capture disproportionate value. The top 1% of solo founders will build companies that generate tens of millions in revenue. The rest will build smaller businesses, still profitable, still valuable, but not unicorn scale. This creates inequality, but it's a different kind than what exists today. Instead of employees earning salaries while founders capture equity, every founder owns their entire business. The wealth distribution is less concentrated at the top because there are more owners, but the variance between successful and unsuccessful founders is wider. Fifth, corporate structures change. If the default model shifts to solo founders, we'll see new legal and financial structures emerge. Cooperatives of solo founders, shared equity pools, platforms that aggregate one-person companies into networks. The future of work might not be employment or entrepreneurship in the traditional sense. It might be something hybrid. Startups without employees aren't a gimmick. They're a structural shift. The tools exist. The economics work. The playbook is proven. But the deeper question is this: what kind of future does this create? If the one-person company becomes the dominant model, work looks radically different. Fewer traditional jobs, more autonomy, less employment stability, but more ownership. It's not clearly better or worse. It's just different, and we're living through the transition right now. In the next episode, Episode 3 of Founder of the Future, we're going even deeper. We're looking at the new playbook for building startups in 2025, the exact tools, the exact steps, the exact mindset shifts that separate founders who succeed from founders who burn out. This is the future, and it's already here. See you in the next one.